In 2014, Sony Entertainment was hit by a hacker attack that stole a huge amount of information off Sony's network. The hackers would then go on to leak the information, which contained everything from emails to not yet released films. The hack itself was done by North Korea, and in this video, we will go through how and why it happened. In the fall of 2014, Seth Rogen and James Franco had just finished up their new movie, The Interview. The Interview is a comedy produced by Sony about a pair of journalists played by Seth Rogen and James Franco who score an interview North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Before the trip, they are contacted by the CIA, which asked them not to just interview Kim, but to kill him as well. Now, as you can imagine, North Korea was not too happy about the involvement of their supreme leader Kim Jong-un. So when the movie was getting buzz with early trailers, they sent a letter to the United Nations arguing that by allowing the movie to be produced, the United States was sponsoring terrorism. Even within Sony, there was a lot of pressure from senior executives to tone down a specific scene from the movie where Kim Jong-un is killed in. Rogen had this to say about the scene. "We will make it less glory. There are currently 4 burn marks on his face. We'll take 3 of them out, leaving only 1. We reduced the flaming hair by 50%, but he said further changes would ruin the joke." The movie was set to premiere on December the 25th on multiple theaters nationwide, but about a month earlier, when Sony employees logged on to their computers early Monday morning, November the 24th, 2014, they were greeted with the sound of digital gunfire and the image of an ominous red skeleton under the title Hacked by GOP, which stood for the shadowy organization called Guardians of Peace. Below was a message that read, in not very good English, "We've already warned you, and this is just the beginning. We'll continue till our requests be met. We've obtained all your internal data, including your secrets and top secrets. If you don't obey us, we'll release the data." Before the entire system went dark, the malware wiped out half of Sony's global digital network. It junked 3,262 of Sony's 6,797 personal computers and 837 of its 1,555 servers. Within hours, the global media giant went back to the 80s with the employees using fax machines and pens and paper. Over the weeks to come, while Sony struggled to repair the damage, the hackers released multiple of the stolen files, which included 4 movies that have not yet been released to the public, including Furry and Annie. They also leaked thousands of confidential documents, everything from private correspondence among Sony executives to salary and performance data about Sony employees. By mid-December, the attackers seemed increasingly obsessed with The Interview. The movie was getting closer to its release date and the New York City premiere at Sunshine Cinema on December the 18th. On December the 8th, GOP posted a message demanding that Sony stop immediately showing the movie about terrorism. And a week later, they followed it up with a new message. "Soon, all the world will see what an awful movie Sony Pictures Entertainment has made. The world will be full of fear. Remember the 11th of September 2001. We recommend you to keep yourself distant from the places at that time. If your house is nearby, you better leave. Whatever comes in the coming days is called by the greed of Sony Pictures Entertainment. All the world will denounce the Sony." Following this, Seth Rogen and James Franco canceled the rest of their press tour, and some of the Sony movie theater chains also became concerned. Most had already committed to the show in The Interview on its December 25th launch day, but theater owners began pressuring Sony for permissions to drop the film. Late on December the 16th, Sony announced that theaters would be permitted to pull The Interview from their Christmas Day lineup. Over the next 24 hours, several major chains announced that they would do just that. With support from the theater chains crumbling, Sony decided to shelve the movie altogether on December the 17th. Following this, the hacker group sent Sony a message stated that they would not release any further information if Sony never released the film and removed its presence from the internet. President Barack Obama, in an end-of-the-year press speech on December the 19th, commented on the Sony hacking and stated that he felt Sony made a mistake in pulling the film. and that producers should not get into a pattern where you're intimidated by these acts. He also said,
"They caused a lot of damage, and we will respond. We will respond proportionally, and we'll respond in a place and time and manner that we choose. It's not something that I will announce here today at a press conference."
In response to President Obama's statement, Sony's entertainment CEO, Michael Linton, said on the CNN program Anderson Cooper 360 that the public, the press, and the president misunderstood the events. Linton said that the decision to cancel the wide release was in a response to a majority of theaters pulling their showings and not the hackers' threats. Linton stated that they will seek other options to distribute the film in the future, and noted, "We have not given in, and we have not backed down. We have always had every desire to have the American public see this movie." On December the 23rd, Sony opted to authorize approximately 300, mostly independent theaters to show the interview on Christmas Day, as the 4 major theater chains had yet to change their earlier decision not to show the film. The FBI worked with these theaters to detail the specifics of the prior threats and how to manage security for the showings, but noted that there was no actionable intelligence on the prior threats. Sony's Linton stated on the announcement that "we are proud to make it available to the public and to have stood up to those who attempted to suppress free speech." The interview was also released to Google Play, Xbox Video, and YouTube on December the 24th. No incidents predicted by the threats occurred with the release, and instead, the unorthodox release of the film led to it being considered a success due to increased interest in the film following the attention it had received. On December the 27th, the North Korean National Defense Commission released a statement accusing Obama of being the chief culprit who forced the Sony Pictures Entertainment to indiscriminately distribute the movie. The FBI later clarified more details of the attacks, attributing them to North Korea by noting that the hackers were sloppy with the use of proxy IP addresses that originated from within North Korea. At one point, the hackers logged into the Guardians of Peace Facebook account and Sony's server without effective concealment. FBI Director James Comey stated that internet access is tightly controlled with North Korea, and as such, it was unlikely that a third party had hijacked these addresses without allowance from the North Korean government. The National Security Agency assisted the FBI in analyzing the attack, specifically in reviewing the malware and tracing its origins. NSA Director Admiral Michael Rogers agreed with the FBI that the attack originated from North Korea. A disclosed NSA report, published by Der Spiegel, stated that the agency had become aware of the origins of the hack due to their own cyber intrusion on North Korea's network that they had set up in 2010. Looking back, the evidence showed that the hackers had been inside Sony's network for months gathering information and preparing themselves. Sony received a lot of criticism and backlash following the hack, and especially for initially pulling the movie, as the hack was seen as an attack on free speech. The movie would end up doing pretty good as it got a lot of attention and free media. It did not become a smashing hit at the box office with a little over $12 million, but would end up being Sony's most successful digital release with over 40 million grossed in digital rentals. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. I know it was a long time ago I released anything, but I've been stuffed with work for the last couple of months. Going forward, I will have more time and should be back with posting weekly. If you'd like to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.